Hi, welcome back and welcome to another episode 4 of Treasure Hunting with Katharyne. It's so awesome. We've been doing this a month now. We've been doing it every week for a month and it's so cool. We've got 80 people in the Facebook group. We've got 173 subscribers on YouTube. It's so cool to see how quickly this is growing, and I'm so grateful to all of you for sticking with this and sending questions, sending suggestions. Really, really cool. I'm thinking about what we can do with the format. I've had a lot of requests to do shorter shows and more specialised shows, talking about things like books maybe, or rank, or bundling, or listing, or any of these kind of things. So I think I might start doing like 15-minute or 10-minute mini shows. But for now, I'm going to carry on with the half-hour weekly show. I'm also thinking about shifting to Spreecast and doing it that way, and then archiving it to YouTube. And that way, maybe we can have guests, we can look at things on the screen. So that might be another direction we're going. And also so we can network and see what everyone else is doing. That would be pretty cool. So for now, I'm sticking with YouTube. But I think we're going to have some additional formats or some format changes in the future, which is exciting. But do join the Facebook group. There's so much information going on there. The link's going to go along the bottom, if I remember to put it in. But yeah, join the Treasure Hunting with Katharyne Facebook group, because people have been asking some great questions. We had a really long discussion about rank, and what you should look for when you're thrifting or when you're doing retail arbitrage, what kind of ranks you should be looking for. We've had a lot of really cool discussions. We've talked about packaging, like everything about Amazon, about FBA, eBay, and it's a really friendly group, so do come and join us there. This week, so last week we talked a lot about retail arbitrage. This week we're just back in the backyard, chilling in the sunshine, and talking more about thrifting and yard sales, especially yard sales. Today for me it's Saturday, so I went out yard sailing this morning. It was a slow start. So last week, I didn't talk to you last week. Last week I kind of overslept, which makes me a very bad yard sailor, because you have to get out there early. You really, really have to get out there early to do like the crazy yard sale run. And I didn't find anything immediately, but then I hit one great yard sale last week, and I spent $60, and I just got a ton of tech, of electronics. There was an iPod Nano in there, which was awesome, because the minimum those sell for is $80. So it was a little bit scratched on the back, but that's fine. It's in acceptable condition, and it was complete. So I'm probably going to sell that on Amazon. Or I could sell it on eBay for a bit less, but make a quick turnaround. There was a bunch of other things. There was a DVD player. There was an iRig and a microphone for linking your guitar and your iPhone together, which is pretty cool. A lot of little gadgets I got last week, so that was pretty cool. And why that's really cool is I can just send a lot of it straight into Amazon and FBA it. So that was a really nice find, but kind of boring, so I didn't really talk about that last week. I focused on retail arbitrage. This week, so yard sales started really, really slow today. There didn't seem that many. I have a couple of things I do. On a Friday night, I check Craigslist for rummage sales, because I find that rummage sales are always just the best thing. If you can find a big rummage sale, like a school rummage sale or a church one, there's a lot of people. It's really big. Not just some people in a backyard, but like in a big church hall or a school hall. Those can just be so full of awesome treasure. And usually they want to get it sold. They don't want to have anything left. So they're really willing to cut deals. They want to sell it. Don't rip them off. Be nice. But it's a great place to go. So then after I've checked for rummage sales, which I didn't find any today that looked really, really promising, or they were just too far out. Another thing I do, I check for good estate sales. Usually I stick to Thursday and Friday for estate sales, and I leave Saturdays for yard sales. But then I use an app called Yard Sale Treasure Map. Let me bring it up on my phone if I can. I'll try and put a screenshot up actually, but for now, that's Yard Sale Treasure Map on my phone. Now all these little like arrows or dots, they're like little teardrops, I guess, little pointers, tell me there's a yard sale going on. Now this is awesome because you can just it finds your address if you're using like an iPhone and you've got locations. It finds out where you are and it shows you all the yard sales going on around you. So you can plan a route around them all, which is really cool. It actually plans it for you and tells you where to go if you want that. I think you've got to be cleverer than that because yard sales have different start times. So it's kind of a game to go through them all. I try and go through them all on a Friday night and look at what really appeals to me. If it says books and electronics, that gets a priority for me. If it says there are a lot of new items, that gets more of a priority for me than they say clothes or baby clothes, because that's not really my specialty. So I look for the ones I really, really want to hit, and I look at what times they start, and then I look at what's around them. So I try and plan more or less what I want to do, and they usually start at either 6 a.m. if they're crazy, 7 a.m, 8 a.m, and a few start at 9, but usually they all start early around here. And I try and get there just before they start. Now, some people don't like you going early and get kind of aggressive or mean if you show up early. Others, if you don't show up early, it's finished, it's gone. They've already sold everything to some guys with a truck who've taken everything and gone. So I always try and show up a little bit early. If it says it's starting at 7, I'll try and be there about 1:45 and see what's going on. I'm kind of an early bird. And I stagger it, so I look at what the best thing is starting at 7, what the best thing is starting at 8, best thing starting at 9, and I work my way around it. And also, if I see signs on the road as I'm driving around, I'll go and see what's going on there. So I used Treasure Map this morning, and I went hunting for yard sales because I didn't really see rummage sales or estate sales that looked really promising. And the first 2 hours were just slow. I don't know, I found some sales, but they just weren't selling anything very interesting, or it was just sort of old tools or old baby clothes or nothing really, really exciting. Then I went and got coffee, because coffee always changes everything. If you're having no luck, go and get coffee. After that, try more yard sales. If that doesn't work, go find a random estate sale, go to a rummage sale, open up Craigslist on your phone, look for library sales, look for craft fairs, look for anything. Just keep going. And if that doesn't work, go to a thrift shop. Like, just don't give up. The first few times I went yard selling, I was just like, this is rubbish, this sucks. And I didn't get it. I went to like 2 or 3 sales and I didn't find much. And this morning kind of showed me that you just keep going. You go and you hit, if the first few you go to are awful, you'll still get to one. So after I had my coffee, I just thought, okay, I'm going to go somewhere I don't usually go. And I headed up to the coast to, there's a really nice seaside town here, Encinitas, and it's kind of a upscale area, but not like too snotty and like that kind of upscale. It's kind of like young people, and that's always good. Like, younger people tend to have more gadgets and up-to-date books. Like estate sales, if they're really old people, a lot of the time you're seeing collectibles and old books, which often don't have as much value as you would think. Or there are some like really good things there, but you have to do your research. With young people, it's usually easier to find things that are quickly sellable, like good books, and electronics and toys, like high-ranking, fast-flipping things. So it's going somewhere with a lot of young people who are having yard sales, families, that's a really good strategy. So I did that. I don't usually go to Encinitas. I have other towns and areas I go to. But I thought that would be a cool place to go. And I found one sale that was awesome. There was so much stuff there. There were books. I got little tikis. I don't really do tikis, and these aren't really valuable tikis. But this guy was so cute. So I started off, I used to follow, well, I still do, I follow the Thrifting with the Boys group on Facebook, and they have a TV show, Thrift Hunters. Those guys are awesome, and they're always looking at tikis. So I just bought these just so I would have some tikis, because I really like those guys, and I think they do a great job. So they're keeping me company for now. They're not worth much. I can probably sell them for about $20 or $30. Which is cool, because I bought a ton of stuff today for $25. That was what I spent. So I went to this one sale. Oh my gosh, I bought a big pile of jewelry and treasure. Doesn't this look like treasure? This is treasure hunting here. Oh, and more cool bracelet. I'm wearing a cool bracelet. I like the bracelets. Apparently they're from India. I thought they were really awesome. So I got a whole bunch of jewelry, and I've been kind of digging around in it. It was all tangled, so they were happy to get rid of it. I thought this was pretty cool. It's like a necklace from the Sahara Casino, Reno. And there were some little badges or pins from the Beatles Cirque du Soleil show. This I thought was pretty interesting in there. I hope these are no one's keys. I'm a little bit worried about the keys on there. But it's not in the... Actually, we can probably clean this up. It's not in the cleanest condition, but it's got apple and it's got rainbows. So I think this is kind of a good thing. I think we can probably get something on eBay for that. So I got a lot of jewelry and stuff. I got books, which I'll talk a bit more about later. I got two. I'm coming back. I got two of these crazy boom boxes. Oh my gosh, how awesome are these? Now, I don't know. These are kind of a gamble. So remember, this is all for $25. I've also got books, magazines. I don't know. Oh, the tikis. I got quite a lot of stuff, and two boom boxes. Now I looked these boom boxes up, and it's kind of interesting. Their price varies. Some of them sell for have sold. This model on eBay. They've sold for about $30 minimum. One sold for $120 in March. One sold for $90 in March. These both look in really good condition. No discs inside. They need a little bit of cleaning up. There's a bit of dust. But they look good. The thing is, they're super heavy. Now, I was really interested to see that Deborah and Charlene this week did a podcast. This is the Thrifting for Profit podcast. And they did theirs on big versus small items. Now, I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. But I'm guessing it might actually help me here, because this is big and it's heavy. And looking at eBay, the really expensive ones that sold, the $120 and the $85, they had free shipping. The cheaper ones had really expensive shipping. So this is an interesting conundrum. There is actually a way you can offer free shipping, or you can get very reduced shipping. One thing you could do is send it into Amazon FBA, and then you could multi-channel fulfill it. So if you think you want to sell it on eBay, you can send it to Amazon and store it there. And when it sells on eBay, you can fulfill it from Amazon to the eBay customer. That's one way of getting very cheap shipping, and I suspect that when you see really big, heavy items with free shipping, that's actually what happens. I've got a bocce ball set that I've had in Amazon for about a year, and it hasn't sold. But we're coming up for summer, and I've seen them sell on eBay. Now, I have an advantage because it's at Amazon. I could sell it on eBay and offer free shipping and have it fulfilled from Amazon to the customer. So that might be an option with really big, heavy items if you want to get cheaper shipping, because shipping it to Amazon is actually very cheap because you get the discounted UPS shipping. So that's something I might consider. I need to do a bit more research on these boom boxes. I can probably send them parcel. I can probably send them USPS for not that much. But I figured it was worth a gamble. $5 each, $25 with everything else. I figured that was worth doing. So we'll see. We'll see what luck I have with the boom boxes. I've got to test them first, make sure they're in really good working condition. They look great. I think they're going to sound good. So that was one thing I picked up today. The jewellery, of course. I didn't talk about the necklaces. So I sold some necklaces on eBay fairly recently. I think it was about a week, 2 weeks ago, and I got an offer on them, and I let it go because I'd had them listed for a little while, and I think I sold them for about $25, and they were just like junk bits of jewellery that I picked up at an estate sale, and I saw these, and I thought these were super pretty, and they reminded me of these necklaces and jewellery that I just sold. And what was really cool is a few days ago I got an email from the guy that I sold them to, who sent me the offer, and he said he'd bought them for his little girl because he was stationed inland and she was really missing the sea. So that made my day. I love when there's a story, when there's like a really happy reason for why someone's bought something. I thought they'd be bought by a crafter. I thought someone would want to do something with broken jewellery or bits of jewellery. No, it went to a little girl. So that was a really nice story. That made me happy. So I bought more of it. I bought more jewellery. I thought we could do something with all of this. I can probably separate it out. The Indian bracelets, the Beatles badges, the Apple keychain. There's a lot of lots there and a lot of scope for different sales. So that's something I bought today. So books. I got a lot of books today, and I've been concentrating on books for the last maybe 2 to 3 weeks, because I see books as probably the most reliable thing to sell on Amazon. I think books don't change price very quickly on Amazon, especially if they're obscure books, which is what I usually look for. They tend to keep a fairly steady price. They're not like groceries or toys, where it's very cutthroat in groceries and toys. People undercut each other very quickly, and reprices go crazy, and prices hit rock bottom very quickly, and ranks change a lot. With books, I feel like there's a more steadiness with books. Like, if you find a good book, you pretty much know that you've made decent money. The other thing I like about books is they're very cheap to get hold of. The trick with books isn't having the cash to spend on them. Like with groceries, you have to have a lot of cash to put into it, and then the return isn't huge. It's steady, but it's not massive. With books, you usually get a really, really big return. So I like books a lot, and I try and send as many books into Amazon as I can. I was going to talk a bit about books today, what I look for, what kind of books I think are the most valuable. A lot of people use a scanner. I use my phone. A lot of people use PDAs. I think the Dell Axiom is the one that everyone likes to use. It has an app called a Seller Tool, which instead of accessing Amazon through the internet, you download the database onto your scanner, onto your PDA, and you use that at a book sale, and you can scan very, very quickly. You can go through a whole row of books, blip, 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 and you're not waiting like you are if you use... I use Scan Power. I've been experimenting with the new Amazon seller app, which is really cool, and it's free. Do try it. If you need a scanning app, try the Amazon seller app, because it seems to work pretty well. It doesn't give you a ton of information, but it does give you a good idea on price. And if you're just starting out, it's a free way of going and scanning things at yard sales or thrift shops or wherever you go. Books. I do scan books, but I'm not standing there at a sale going along the line. I tend to look at a shelf and I see what I think is probably a decent seller, and I tend to pile them up, and then I go and I double check and scan them and see whether my instincts were right, and I put back the ones that I think probably weren't a good buy. If I'm at a yard sale, I'll probably look through a box full, because it's more leisurely at a yard sale. You can usually sit and look through a box. There was a discussion about whether it's tacky to scan at a yard sale. I need to talk about yard sale etiquette, because people behave in all kinds of ways at yard sales. It's pretty crazy. Some people walk in and are very aggressive, very they're making deals right away and grabbing things. And I think yard sales, you have to be nice. Like, I always walk up and I go, good morning, hi, hello, and I try and be friendly right from the offset, because there's a few things. You're at someone's house. It's their personal stuff. They kind of have an attachment to it. There's a lot of emotion at yard sales sometimes, and this is sometimes true for estate sales if they're privately run. The professionally run ones, not so much, because the family usually aren't around. But at a yard sale or a garage sale, I think you have to be nice to people, because they're parting with things that are theirs. So I'd say always be nice and be friendly. And this sometimes will help you if you are an early bird and you get there really early. You can, they won't be as aggressive or upset about it if you are nice. And often you can ask things. You can say, hey guys, do you have any books? Do you have any electronics? And sometimes they'll bring stuff out for you. Like, I've seen this all the time with books. People will bring out a few books, and if you say, I'm interested in books, they'll bring out more. They'll bring out boxes of books. I've never had a problem. I've scanned at yard sales, and no one has ever said, what are you doing with that? What? A couple of people have been interested. They said, oh, are you checking the value? And sometimes I've said, yeah, I'm just seeing how much it sells for, or I'm just looking it up to see more about this book. There's ways of saying it and talking about it, and I don't lie. I don't make stuff up, but I'm friendly about it, and I've never had a problem. So I don't think it's tacky. I don't think there's anything wrong with scanning at a yard sale, but I think there are ways of doing it, and I think if you're nice to people, you'll probably get away with it, and they might help. In fact, I usually find they help me out. They usually want to bring more stuff and show me more stuff. Books at yard sales are just awesome a lot of the time. 90% of what you see will be the same at every yard sale. You will see 50 Shades of Grey, you will see Twilight, you'll see Harry Potter, you'll see What to Expect When You're Expecting, you'll see Kevin Trudeau and Oprah and Dr. Phil and Reader's Digest, and they're all not worth anything. Those are bad books. Actually, if they've got the whole set of Harry Potter or something like that, then that might be worth flipping on eBay or on Amazon. That might be worth it. But on the whole, if a book is super popular, if it says Oprah's book recommendation, if it says Reader's Digest, don't touch it. And 99% of the time, novels and best-selling novels are absolutely just not worth it. They're like, you're wasting your time. There might be a gem in there, there might be a signed copy, but unless you've got the time to really go through them all and check, the chances are so low, it's just not worth your time. Especially on a Saturday, if you're yard selling, you want to get around as many sales as possible. So look at the books. look at the books, and the more you... I remember when I got started on books, maybe about 18 months ago, I thought, how am I even going to tackle this? How do I know what books are worth anything? And the more you do it, it starts to come very, very quickly. Shiny paperback non-fiction that isn't mass market. That's like the biggest, easiest thing to look for. So I have examples. Let me see what we got. Okay, the other thing I did this week, I went through my own bookshelf. Now, I spent way too much time going to university and not working. This is why I'm doing this now, because I spent far too much time being a student. So I still have a lot of books on my shelf. And also, a very good friend of mine, I did a swap with her for some of her books, her professional books. This is a great thing to do. If you have a friend who's in a profession, say like teaching or acting or anything medical or legal, if they want rid of their books, make a deal with them. Offer a swap. Offer to take your friend's books, and it's a great way of getting books. If you know someone who's a professional who wants rid of their books, or who's just finished college and wants rid of all their books, those are a really, really good buy. So I looked through my own books. I studied theatre, so I studied theatre and business. The business books I got rid of, but I still have a lot of books from my theatre degree. So I went through my own bookshelf, and I was like, whoa. Now, I guess I'm cheating a little bit, because a lot of them were published in London, so they're more difficult to find here, which pushes the price up. But let me talk a bit about what kind of books you're looking for. So 2 books I got off my bookcase that look really good, and actually they both have selling prices of over $30, and they have ranks of about 1.5 million. I'll talk a little bit more about rank. These are great books. How do I know they're good books? One thing that's key is publisher. If a book is published by a university press, so say it says Harvard or Cambridge or York, or I don't know, if it has a university press on the back, that's a really good sign. If it's Blackwell, Routledge, you'll get to know a lot of the academic publishers. Those are really, really worth looking out for. There's textbooks and there's textbooks. One sort, the big hardback books, the kind that you see in schools that are often on things like calculus or science, those, or languages, those are good if they're recent. If those are recent, like in the last 2 years, they might be worth something. And they might be worth a lot. They might be worth $40 or $50. If they are older than about 3 years, the chances are they're going to be worth nothing, because a new edition comes out like every year. The things I like to look for, these are kind of textbooks. I guess this is one I picked up this morning. They're more readers than textbooks. So they have essays. I think it's really good to look out for essay books, because they don't change, they're not updated. So if it says a reader on a particular subject like sociology or, I don't know, art or history, especially the social sciences, because those don't change very much, like history is history. Those kind of books can be really, really good. So always look out for anything kind of academic. Another thing I looked at, I looked through my own books. I got a lot of books on childbirth. I was a childbirth doula for a while. And I have a lot of books on childbirth. Now, this is kind of not a good book. Actually, this is what to expect in the first year. Everyone has what to expect when you're expecting. This is its sequel, what to expect in the first year. So I scanned this, and when oh, it's a bit dirty as well. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, I scanned this book. Even if you have it in really pristine, nice condition, if you FBA that book, you will get minus 75 cents. This is a rubbish book. No offense to the author. Actually, I'm not a big fan of those books, but that's another story. But from a thrifting, from a yard sale point of view, that is a rubbish book. Like, ignore What to Expect When You're Expecting, and you will see it at every single yard sale that a family runs. Everyone has that book. That's what makes it like absolutely worth nothing. It's just way too popular. Now, something like this is a good book. This is worth like $35. At least, even in just acceptable to good condition. So this is a book, particularly, it's a very academic book. It's got thick, it's not like an easy reading book. It's got very medical, very academic style text. It's published by Bergen and Garvey, so I guess that's not, it's not like a popular publisher. So this would be like a good childbirth book. This would be a not so good childbirth book. The same thing goes. So my acting performance books, these are good books. Now, the Key Thinkers. This is good because it's an academic book. We've seen that. This one is interesting. This is just a high quality book. It's very It's about a very specific niche subject, and it's considered the best professional book for actors on how to do accents. So those are good books because they're kind of niche, and they're a bit obscure. That's perfect. That's what you want for books. And if you've got students, they'll be wanting that someone somewhere will be writing an essay or trying to learn to do accents, and they will want those particular books. See, this kind of turned against me, though, because I was looking for an example of a rubbish like book about acting that was on my shelf, and I picked this one up and I scanned it, and actually you get about $8 back if you sold this FBA. So I guess For Dummies isn't as bad as I thought it was, and popular books aren't always as bad as I think they are. So sometimes it pays off to look at everything because you might be surprised. But it's a numbers game. I mean, what's your time worth, and how much time do you have to scan through books? If you're sat at home, you've bought a huge bulk load of books, you can sit and scan through them all. If you're at a yard sale and you want to get onto the next yard sale, I try and fit in like 12, 15, maybe more yard sales in the morning. I try and really pack them in, and grab as much treasure as I can, because you've only got a few hours on a Saturday to do it. There was a discussion on one of the groups about this. I can't remember which group, and someone said, should I scan? Yeah, I don't know. I will scan the ones that look interesting. If I see a pile of books and 80% of them look like really quality books, I will make an offer for the lot, and then I'll scan them in my own time at home. Because this is another thing with yard sales. I like watching Storage Wars. I know it's kind of tacky. I know it's not very realistic, but it's a fun show to watch when I'm packing up boxes for FBA. And one of the things they always say is bid on what you can see. So you see the storage unit. You don't know what's in all the boxes, but you might see one thing that catches your eye and you think is worth bidding on. I kind of have that view with yard sales, that if I spend, say, I try and buy things in bulk, especially with estate sales too, and I try and make sure I have at least one or two things that I know I'll get my money back, especially with books. If I have books and I know, okay, that's a $40 book right there, and I'm buying all of this for $20, then I'm happy taking a risk on all the other stuff, because I know I've made my money back on that one good item. So I'll do that. I guess it's buy what you know and buy what you don't know. Buy what you know that you'll make a good amount of money on, and that will leave you scope to buy what you don't know. And if you buy what you don't know, that will be an education. You will learn from buying what you don't know. You might make a mistake, but it doesn't matter because you've already made your money back. You can just donate that, give it to a friend, do something else with it. But buy what you know, and then you'll have money to also buy what you don't know. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about with books? Oh, ranks. So this is another thing with books. It's easy to scan them, and you can see what the price is on them. the other part of the equation is rank. Now with usually I don't worry about rank with books. If a book doesn't have a rank, like it's some crazy German textbook on something very strange in a foreign language, I might be wary of it. I probably won't spend $5 on it, even if it says it's going to get me $200 back. Because if it hasn't got a rank, it's never sold. It probably never will sell. Now that said, I don't pay much attention to rank. As long as a book's got a rank, I don't pay a lot of attention. Especially if it's not going to outdate. If it's a textbook that's clearly relevant only to a certain date, or it's like a 2012 directory or something like that, I will probably leave it alone. But other than that, I don't pay much attention to rank in books, mainly because you're not paying that much for them, and the return is really good. I guess I should say, if I know that a book's popular, I'll buy it even if the return is only a few dollars. If it's not popular, I probably won't bother buying it if the return is only a few dollars. I will buy it if the return is going to be more than $10 or $20, because it's better than a lottery ticket. You've got better odds. And if you send it into FBA, it's not in your house, it's at Amazon, and the storage costs are so small. And if you only have one item, which you will for most books, it doesn't count against you in long-term storage. So I don't pay a lot of attention to rank. Let me tell you why. I sold a book in February, so a month ago, and it was called Neurological Examination of the Full-Term Newborn Infant. There was actually a subtitle, but I'm not going to go there. I bought this about 18 months ago, and I bought it from a lady who sold me a whole bunch of books about babies and childbirth, which was really cool. I gave her a little bit for them, and she was happy to have me take them. And this particular book I sent into FBA, and it had a terrible rank. It had a really bad rank. At the time I sold it, the rank was 5,957,000, but I sold it for $165. So its rank was almost 6 million, but I sold it at $165 just because there's not that many books that are like that. And there's probably some person training to be a doctor or a doctor doing further research who needs this book. And eventually they will come to you and buy that book. So I will send them in. I will send in anything with that kind of rank. I've been talking a lot about Camel, Camel, Camel in the Facebook group, in the treasure hunting Facebook group. And I do suggest you read the discussion there, because it's really... Camel, Camel, Camel is really enlightening. If you learn to use it well, you can really get to understand rank. And what is interesting about... let me have another look at the neurological book. Actually, let's look at this Key Thinkers, this book. So this is an interesting book. It has a rank of 1.5 million at the moment. Let me just bring myself back so I can see myself. Okay, this has a rank of 1.5 million at the moment. Now, I have brought this up over the last 6 months to see how many have actually sold. So this is a book with 1.5 million, and in the last 6 months it sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies. So we know... let's see. Yeah, this has dropped down to the 1.5 million mark twice before. Its worst mark was 1.5 million. Its best mark was 191,000. So the way it works with Camel, 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 if you go to the sales rank screen for any particular item, you can see vertical spikes, and each vertical spike is a sale. And each time it spikes on sales rank is because someone just bought it. So each time someone buys that book on Amazon, the sales rank spikes. And if they buy another copy quickly afterwards, it spikes again. So the sales rank can push up and up and up. So sometimes if it's got a good sales rank, it might just mean it's just had one sale or two sales, and that's all it's had in like a year. If it has a very poor sales rank, it may have sold a lot a while back, but now it's kind of having a dry spell. So it's, I don't know, Camel's really useful tool, especially if you're thinking of selling a lot of any particular item. You should always check the history with this tool. For books, I don't know it's that useful, but I can tell you by looking at this that if you've got a book that's about 1.5 million, that's a fairly okay rank in books. You're not going to sell a lot of that book, but you will probably sell it within about 2 months. So actually, there's also a chart that was put out by my silent team, and I think it said anything under 3 million is in the top 10% of books on Amazon, because there's something like 46 million ranks in books. So anything in the top 3 million is in the top 10%, which will probably sell. You'll sell at least one copy every 3 to 6 months. Now, if you're competing against other sellers, you might have a harder time selling. It might be slower to sell, but it means that at least one person is selling that every sort of 3 to 6 months. So I send in any book with any rank, because if the price is reasonable, because I think it's worth it. The return is often so good on books. It's absolutely worth it. So I've talked a lot about books there. Let me see what else I wanted to talk about today. Oh, the other thing with books, I wanted to say, don't forget to enjoy books. Like, I picked this up today, and really the price wasn't that high, but I just thought this was so cool. So I bought this to read to my son. It's just such an awesome pop-up book. So it was funny, the lady actually wanted $2 for that. All the other books she'd sold me for $1. And I said, oh, okay, I'll pay $2 for that. So the whole total came to $25, which was great. And I think that kind of demonstrates the nature of yard sales, that people attach very emotional prices to things. And sometimes to get a good deal, you kind of have to humour them, because they're pricing by emotion. They don't know really what things are worth. They just know what it's worth to them. So sometimes you just got to humour people and be nice about things and pay them what they want for some things. And you'll get amazing bargains on the things that they really don't value, that actually have a really good monetary value. So that's some. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you about books, and this is really cool. This is like a secret. So if you have a lot of people scanning books, they'll only scan things with barcodes. And I spotted this book. It's a bit of a sad topic, genocide studies reader, but again, it's got that key word reader, and it's by Routledge, which is an academic press. I spotted this, and I did want to get a price on it because the lady wanted $1 for every book, so I didn't want to keep buying a lot of books that had no value. But there's a way of checking a book quickly. You can type in the ISBN number, that's one way. So if you go to the front of the book and see what the ISBN number is, you can go to Amazon and type that in directly. That's kind of the basic way. There's a quick way of doing it. Let me bring it up on my... Oops, oh no, we lost the tiki. There he is. I use this app called Amazon Flow, which is a pretty interesting app. It doesn't look very interesting on there, but what you do, you point it at the cover of the book. Let me see, does that work? Yes. Oh, and there we go, it's brought up that book, and if I show you, it's found it just by looking at the front cover of that book. So I click it there, and it tells me that it has a selling price of $78. Woo! So that's a really quick way of checking books. I've gone behind people who are like feverishly scanning, and I've used Flow to just check the covers of books that look interesting. And I'm amazed at the results. It works in about 2 seconds, and it's so much quicker than typing an ISBN number. The only downside of Flow is that it munches your battery. Like, it uses up your battery so quickly in your phone. So I don't recommend just going around flowing everything at a book sale, because your phone will run out so quickly. But it's a really cool trick to do that. So you're looking for Amazon Flow. It's actually an app that Amazon have made, and you can get it from the App Store. And I'm sure there's probably an Android version as well, but I don't know that for sure. So that's the other. Oh, the other thing is, be careful when you're using Flow. Always double check. If you think you found an awesome winner, double check it by clicking it and going to Amazon and check the edition, because you might find that the edition it brings up has the same cover, but it's like an audio book, or it's an import or something like that, and the price is artificially high. So do double check. Flow isn't foolproof. It brings up false results, but it's useful for giving you a really quick view on whether something's just a penny book or whether it's a good book that you really should be interested in. Let me see, is there anything else that I had to talk about today? We were talking about these last week, and I found this one at an estate sale this week. These are the fast colour bandanas, and I think Yaya, she's awesome. Yaya, you've been posting so many great questions in the treasure hunting group. Thank you. I think it was you. You asked about these bandanas, and I said that the best ones have an elephant. I found this one that has an elephant at an estate sale this week. And I've noticed on eBay people put trunk up or trunk down. Now, I don't really know what the trunk up or this one's got the trunk up. I don't know whether there's any relevance. The price seems to be the same whether the trunk's up or down. But collectors seem to want to know. So that's the fast colour elephant bandana. I got this for $1. But if it says fast colour, it will probably sell for $20 or more. So look out for those. That's our bolo that we had last week, and I'm revisiting it because bandanas are cool. One last thing I have to talk about. I got such a great deal today. So after I went to this amazing yard sale and bought all this stuff for $25, I found one more stop. I found a sale as I was driving home. And I went in and I was like, oh, this is like a craft sale. Now, I'm not a big... Craft sales are lovely if you're buying gifts for people, if you're buying something for yourself, you're buying jewellery or something pretty. Craft sales, not so good for resale, because they're usually special dealers or makers, and they usually want a good price for things. They're not getting rid of stuff, they're selling it to make money. So I went in and I was like, oh, this is nice, this is pretty, maybe I'll have a coffee and just maybe buy some pretty jewellery or something. And then I saw this. Hold on, let me get this. I have to be very careful with this, it's a bit big. Now this, it's called the Miracle Piano Teaching System. So they just put the price down from $45 to $25. I think the sale had been on for about 2 hours, and they obviously wanted rid of this. So I offered them $20, and they hummed and hawed, and then they went, okay, $20. This is why this is really cool. I don't know if we can see this. In the top here. Oh no, I dropped his shelf. Here we are. This says for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So I looked at this a bit further, and I thought this won't have all the parts, it won't have everything. And it was in the box. I've taken it out of the box to show you. Check it out. It's an old NES cartridge, and it all just looks brand new. The manual's here, the headphones are here, still in the packet. It sells for $150 on eBay. I think I can double this on Amazon. Let me put it back. Oh. I looked on Amazon, I scanned it using the barcode. The problem is it's coming up just with the cartridge on Amazon, which isn't great because I have the whole set. Wow! Which we know is $150 on eBay. I checked the completed and that's what it sells for there. I think I can get double on Amazon because there's no other sellers. The problem is people are just selling the cartridge on Amazon. So I'm going to email seller support. Wish me luck because we know what it's like talking to seller support. They're sometimes not super helpful about these things. But I'm going to email seller support and see if I can get a new listing set up just for this whole package. And I think this is going to be a really good sale through Amazon. It's big, it's heavy, it's oversized, but I'm looking forward to selling it, and I'm really excited by that. So, the moral of that story, don't give up. I got really disheartened this morning. I drove around for 2 hours, went to a ton of sales, didn't find anything. Drank my coffee, another sale, awesome, pile of stuff. Then I went to the crazy craft sale that I didn't realise was a craft sale, and I was ready to give up, and then I saw that. So just go out there. You don't know what's around the corner, you don't know what you're going to find. Just don't make excuses and don't psych yourself out. It's really easy to go, oh, I'm not going to go out today. It's going to be rubbish. There's not going to be anything there. It's going to be awful. Keep going. There's always a bunch of sales. There's a bunch of estate sales. There's so many things. I had one day where I went to an estate sale. It was awful. It sucked. There was nothing there. I hunted. I couldn't find anything. I came out. Just down the road, there was someone having a yard sale on a Thursday, and this guy was just selling stuff out of his garage, and he sold me a bunch of Kodak photo paper, a bunch of Polaroid paper, like a few $100s worth of stuff. For very little. He just was like, yeah, sell it, here we go, whatever, I have no use for it. And it was just random. So get out there and keep your eyes open. Use Craigslist, Google rummage sales, friends of, library sales, book sales, and it's amazing what you can find when you look and you just have a mindset of, I'm going treasure hunting today, I'm going to do it, I'm going to find something. Because just stick with it. I don't think I've had one Saturday where I've come home and just been like, oh, I've had that after the first hour, the first 2 hours, and I've just been like, I'm not finding anything, this is awful. But just stick with it. Just stick with it and keep going, and you'll find your treasure. There's always treasure. You've just got to keep looking and keep positive. So, have a really good week. Go enjoy treasure hunting. Tune into the Facebook group because there's so much information there. Hopefully I'm going to put a lot more of it into videos, and I'm hoping to start a website soon, get a lot more information going. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been so good talking to you again. Email me or Facebook me on the group if you have any questions. And have a really good week. Enjoy treasure hunting. Bye.